welcome to another episode of Three Los International. Sometimes after a shitty result and you watch that intro video, you just want to like punch your TV or your computer, like fuck off with the exciting music. That's a bit how this evening is going. Olympiacos drops points in extra time against Athens Kallithea, excuse me. 1-1 is the result. We are about a week away, some days from Christmas. Olympiacos has one more game before the winter break and until the January transfer window opens. Just a devastating gut punch tonight from a managerless Kallithea team that just took Olympiacos so much steam out of its sails going for the league tonight. Easily the worst team in Greece this season. No wins, lots of draws, even with larger teams, but still a team without a manager, an Olympiacos team that was coming off just, another game where they lacked creativity. Today was the same story. It's been the story of the season a bit. Unable to create. Jose Luis Mendilibar unable to figure out a lineup that's able to consistently create chances, and the chances we did create were not scored by players who have, look like they're running rabid, looking like they're running on fumes at the moment, with Ayoub El-Kabi, who's barely had a break all season, and also Gelson Martins, who looks really just out of form. So I'm here with my good friend Marcial. Sorry for that long introduction. Marcial, welcome. How are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you.
Unfortunately, I think every episode that comes after a game like that is, I won't say it's enjoyable because I don't really like it, but the most things comes out of it. And like, not only Kallithea is coachless, but it's also stadiumless, it's fanless, it's strikerless, and I have respect for this team because I know it's difficult to come out Super League 2 and also Valbuena plays in there. I won't disrespect them because I have some good players, but when you're leading 1-0, you know that the only reason you will hit a goal, it's a set pieces. You know it. Like, I'm not a coach, I'm not a football player, but I've seen tons of football games. It reminded me a little bit of Greece 2004, and I don't want to disrespect Greece 2004, but when you have a corner, a free kick, you can snatch so many things out of it. And we've seen it during the whole weekend with AEK, with Panathinaikos, with PAOK. We kept saying in the chat, okay, every competitor is scoring through set pieces. And what did happen? Not only we don't have any good set pieces, but we're eating a goal out of nowhere. Like, I think not even Kallithea was hoping for a goal. I mean, the goalkeeper came in to play the attack, but I would say the only something that would summarize quite good the game tonight will be when you lack respect toward football, you get punished. And the last time we were lacking respect to football was when we had Marcelo and James in the team with no tactical shape, and we were surprised to lose so many games in Europe. But that's football, man. When you play a winger, which is a right back, which is Rodinei, in so many games, you can't expect it to be sustainable. And I think we will talk about it later. The quality-wise, we are lacking some things, and I won't disagree with that. But it's, and I just don't understand. I have so many questions that has no answers, which is very frustrating.
I just don't understand how he played Gelson Martins and Willian against Twente, and then he started Rodinei as winger against Kallithea. It was like just so stupid. And then Costinha, who was putting in some dangerous crosses that he took out in favor of putting Rodinei on the right back position. Just I don't know. There was just too many frustrating things. Like, against Vents, the game again, he was how you change the central defenders, you change your fullback, and
I,
finally it cost him. It finally cost him tonight. Like, what is like one of the number one rules you learn in football is like you don't change your back line or especially your center back pairing. And he does it consistently, and it seems like we've gotten away with it, and we finally paid the price for it seemed like neither Retsos or Carmo had any idea what they were doing marking on that corner. And it's like, you would expect that
it's
Retsos came in like 10 minutes to play. It was just so stupid, completely stupid. Was Apostolopoulos great tonight? No. No, I find him to be a very mediocre player, but like, for fuck's don't bring on Retsos, man. Don't bring on and change the whole back line pairing. And
no, the thing I don't understand is that uh, when Karamo was injured, Pirola was more than good, in my opinion. It
yeah,
was becoming the starter. But the thing is, we know that the CB pair is Carmo and Retus. So when both of them are fit, you just have to play them. It's not debatable. I know that you want to give playing time to some players. Maybe you wanted to reward Pirola, but if he considers Carmo to be the number one, to be the left-footed centre back, then he had to start, and Retzos had to start. It's that simple. And the only way for Pirola to came in, it's because Carmo getting injured or a red card. I don't know. That's the only way you sub a centre back. And coming to Apostolopoulos, I think it was tragic during the first half, but it was quite okay during second half. So what's the message behind that? Okay, you have someone that is the substitution of the starting left back. We all know that we are getting a left back in January. Apostolopoulos himself probably reads the news. He knows that someone is coming. He probably knows he's not going to play anymore. And you sub him off, and the guy that comes in concedes a corner. We ate a goal. We lose 2 points, and then what? What can you expect from a player like you? Mendilibar was able to take Apostolopoulos out of the B team, out of nowhere, to play in Tumba, to play in Conference League semifinals. He almost came in during the final, and he handles him like that. No, I think it's quite unfair. And my fear is that at some point, we all know that how football team works. We know that the players are almost above the coach, above the club, and if they want to, they can get anyone sacked. That's my only concern, because that's how you lose a locker room. With when frustration is accumulating, not good. Maybe
I
I'm wrong.
also
I don't know.
I don't understand. Okay, this is going to be another thing. But Willian, we can all agree, I think, was quite mediocre on Thursday night. Like quite mediocre against Twente and was not great. But the games before, like everyone in the chat can write what they think. It felt like he was building up form. Tonight, I felt like, yes, he had a setback against Twente, wasn't very good, blah blah blah. But why not include him in the list as an option? Like why not start Willian? Why not say like, okay, we paid a lot of money to bring you here. The owner trusts you. Um, we know Thursday was a rough game, but like we're gonna trust you and we're gonna go with you and Velde and Gelson Martins or something like that. Like that was also frustrating for me because it's now like is Willian done? He was like building up form slowly but surely, was getting a little bit better. People were kind of like seeing signs of life. Had a shit game, and then it's like he's done. I don't understand that either, and for a team
I,
that
th- I
lacks
think
creative options, like Willian probably would have been helpful today to have. And
the thing is,
yeah,
I think the fan base globally is very mixed, because I think it has to come to the reporting of the team in the medias, to me, because imagine Olympiacos was uh, I don't know, English team, Spanish team, French team. You would have reports about the playing style. Mendilibar I'm not saying Mendilibar isn't criticized enough, but if you take Mendilibar with Olympiacos and you put that into another league, you would have more analysis about what's going wrong, what are the weaknesses of Olympiacos. And I know Sport 24 does that with data, but I think we are lacking basic information. We are lacking like some kind of inside uh, information about the decision about some players, uh, and it comes back to what we've seen before Carvajal, like the fact we learned through Portuguese priest that the sports director was leaving, the fact that Kovacevic was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are lacking a
Context,
serious
maybe
report
even.
about the club, and that's why we have so many questions. I don't know if Willian is injured. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. We don't know any reasons about changing of defenders. You know what I mean? Like locker room talks that
Yeah.
could comes off in
I
toward the press. I think this
I
is what we need. Like the bubble needs to explode at some point.
I also just, I understand trying to launch some players and get things going, but it is December. We're a week away from having like a 2-week break. No one is going to get form, from playing these games. Like we just need to like play the starting lineup. Maybe El Kabi has looked completely dead for weeks now. Just exhausted. He's played almost every single game this season. I'd love to know how many games exactly he's played, but just looks exhausted. And it just he missed an easy chance. He just does not look like himself. On our one goal, that sort of like pressure and header back, that he put pressure on to do was just like
And
classic Alcabi. But it's just the guy looks like he's got nothing in the legs right now, and I don't
and
know what you do there. You have Yaramchuk, I guess you play him, but
the
yeah,
thing
just
is,
yeah,
it reminds me when I was walking. I won't compare Olympiacos to French League Two, but sometimes in League Two the schedule was like you have one game on Friday, another one during midweek, and another one on Saturday. So you had 3 games in a week. And when I asked to the coach, like if will he be doing rotation on one specific game, and he replied to me, no, it's just three changes per game, and at the end of it, at the end of the stretch of games,
yeah,
you would have involved like 20 players at least with the subs. And my concern is that uh, the lineup today had too many changes on it. You know what I mean? Because Kallithea was playing the first game without Donati, so it
yeah,
was obvious they were going for at least a point through a set pieces,
yeah,
and you just had to put the best team on paper. But if you come to what Mendilibar did since he was appointed in the league, I'm only speaking about the league. The playoffs last season, he was using Abi, he was using Endoy as a centre back, Retzos, Carmo. He even used Vezo at the end of it.
yeah,
What's the point of all of that? Because when the season ended, I was like, okay, maybe he needed 6 months to understand the Greek league, to know the players better. But he's still doing it. And if he doesn't trust Oliveira, then cut him. Okay,
yeah,
it's frustrating to pay someone that much to not seeing on the pitch, but you have your own reason. Mendilibar, you won the Conference League with Olympiacos. Everyone will back you. Just cut the guy if you don't trust him.
yeah.
Don't give too many chances to player because we need those 3 points. And same apply for Willian because if I don't know,
We
I have
can't keep doing this dance with Willian, in my opinion. Like the time is up. It's December. Like this thing of where he was playing 3 games, he was starting, he plays Twente, and then he's like dropped. It's like now we have to rebuild the whole thing again with him. Like we're gonna bring him back and play him against La Mia or whatever at home. Like what? Like at some point, I think you're right. Like a decision has to be made. On some of the summer signings. Look, they can raise their hands and say we fucked up these signings. Like we fucked up. We made mistakes, and they're done. but they need to cut them because, like you said, in the midfield position, like at the 6 and at the 8, there's too many people at this point. Like one name we didn't mention is like Marko Stamenic started playing some decent football the past few weeks, and he's been completely disappeared. Like it's completely gone. And I was, just like Willian almost, he was like starting to play, starting to get some rhythm, and he's like didn't even make it on the pitch today. Extremely disappointing. Again, the approach, just like the substitutions, like the game with Twente, the fucking subs were so frustrating as well. But
I don't understand, man.
I don't understand the approach. Like, and a lot of people are gonna say like the quality is not there. But
who
yeah, go
does he
on.
trust more between Costinha and Rodinei? It will have to make a choice at some point. It will fucking have to make a choice between Costinha and Rodinei. It reminds me, man, it's the same situation. If you remember when we had Leali and Capino.
Yeah.
Who's the number one? It's Leali? No, it's Capino. Capino's shit, so it's Leali. Leali's shit, so it's Capino. It's not working. It's like Keylor Navas and Donnarumma with PSG. You had Navas is a starter. You bring Donnarumma. You say he's not the number one, but he's not the number two. Then the two goalkeepers became shit.
Yeah.
We are the only club in the world that doesn't know the word competition.
I don't understand with Rodinei was like, it was perfectly teed up to do this against fucking Twente at home and like really hit him on the press. And also we had issues in the midfields, if you remember. Like we didn't have Dani Garcia. It's like, okay, let's bring in Rodinei to kind of bring things together. But why the fuck are you starting 2 right backs against Kallithea, literally the worst team in Greek football? Just fucking play a regular winger, man. Like I know it has worked in Europe, and in the derbies, like this Rodinei Costinha partnership. But like, why are you playing 2 right? I'm sorry that it's like it's worked, and like I actually think it works pretty well in Europe because of the combination. But you are playing a team that plays so deep, man. It makes no sense. We lost 45 minutes doing that. And Rodinei can't cross the ball. And God, it was just so incredibly frustrating.
You know it reminds me like Mandelibar is like a guy that gets to date one different girl per match day. And every time he dates a girl, he's doing the wrong thing, and the next girl he dates is doing the things he should have done with the girl before. Like Rodinei Costinha were due to start against Twente. Today it's Willian that should have started, and next match day it will change something, and we would be saying, okay, Oliveira maybe needed to start the Lamias game. And it's so frustrating because sometimes you just want to. I just want to spend a week with Mendelibar at Ready, just saying what he does. Like you have the squad like that, and I just want to spend time with him. Okay, just Mendy, the Greek league. Just watch more games. Just watch more games. Every Greek league, every Greek team is known. Like Kallithea, it's like almost Italian team.
We played them 3 fucking times, or it's before Christmas and we played them 4 times now, and it's like we drew with them, we barely beat them 1-0, and it's like, what the fuck's gonna happen. We have played them 3 times. It doesn't matter they have a new manager. Like, fuck, man. Like, why are you playing Rodinei? Like, we know this was gonna be a 1-0 or 1-1 game. Like, we need goal creation, and it just wasn't there. And also another thing I'll say, like, he didn't start Musakitis today. He didn't start Kostoulas. Like, instead of fucking Rodinei, like, this would have been the perfect game for Papakanelou, who played against Ofi and also against Kallithea and showed some like decent qualities. I don't know, just like what was in the thought process. Also, Gelson Martins, who's like 5'6" and weighs 50 kilos, playing behind the striker. It's like just made no sense either. Who's in shit form. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's just so frustrating. So frustrating.
The thing is, with Kostoulas and resting them has a point for only one reason, because if we do win the league this season, resting them for one game here and there won't matter if we want to keep them, because we will get big offers anyway. So we better use, I don't know how to say that. I don't want to crush Kostulas or Muzakitis to the ground, but we need to use them until the point they need the rest, if that makes sense. It's similar to Heze, because look at Heze this season.
Without Chiquinho, we need Kostulas to play next to Alcabi, man.
But the thing I want to say is that we haven't learned to listen with Cisse, with Madi, like those players. Any players has a limited way of improvement at Olympiacos, and Heze was a top player last season. He played a lot. He kept playing. Did he play too much? Probably, but we won the Conference League through it. So I have no regret. He's struggling this season. That's true, but the thing is, with the injuries with that we have no choice. Like Mendilibar can't afford to rotate the team with so many injuries in it. Like Chiquinho's half, that's a blow. If Danny Garcia was half today, then would have been a second blow too. I don't know, the margin is very thin. He has to be a little bit more careful probably, because I've read what he said after the game. He said the smaller teams are way more difficult this season to play against. Yeah, but that's your job too, man. That's your job.
Yeah. I also, before we get going, I want to announce something. I want to give a shout out to our newest Patreon, Callum Spencer. Welcome to the Patreon group. As you saw today, it got a bit crazy in the Patreon group. Callum, welcome. For the rest of you watching, you can click the link down below and learn more about our different Patreon tiers. It starts as low as $1, €1 maybe, and that gets you access to our official Patreon group chat that becomes a war every time Olympiacos drops points. So feel free to join. Give us a follow, donation, whatever, on Patreon. We'd be happy to have all of you there. I see that Marcial has dropped off for a bit, so I'll talk and go. Oh, he's back. I can talk a little bit.
Drink. Yeah, I needed some water.
He needed water. As Josh Bowler says. And
I needed the water from the periptero, those fresh ass water at 1 a.m.
Fresh and very cold. Yes, indeed.
Do you remember the when we went back from the Limassol game? It's a message I wanted to say on this episode is, Europe may be falling one day. I don't care. The only thing I want to stand is peripteros. Yeah. The day those things disappear, there is no point to call Europe anymore.
There's no Greece, man. Greece is gone without the periptero, man.
I can't believe that. It's the simplest market, like the simplest shop that can exist. There is no quality product on it, just water. Like the fridge are worse than the fridge you can find in the basement of your grandma's house. The
one that
old
only
fridge
has drinks
from
in it.
The 70s. But it works. That's the only thing that works in this world.
Even in the summer, it stays cool.
It's 50-cent bottle of waters. And like the last time I went to the Paris train station, and I paid €3.50 for a bottle of water. No, it's not possible.
Yeah. No, and also you have newspapers, you have your
but I
as Gio said, you have your chocolates, like Stefano says here. Yes. It's actually a good point, Marcial. That's like we need our periptero fucking player, the guy who constantly delivers the game-winning assist. Like we do not have that. We need like the guy who delivers the cold water. We don't have the cold water right now. So anyway, back.
Why can't we? Why can't modern football have players that knows how to play 45 games? And when you play in Greece for Olympiacos, basically 2 games out of 3 almost is played in Athens. How is that? it comes back to what I've said before. Uh, I have so many questions about the team. Like, why so many players getting injured? Just why? Do we have a proper answer on that?
Yeah. You can also ask
Just
like Sasha Vezenkov, man. Like I was like he did an interview with Americanos 24 and he was like, "Oh my god, when I went to the US, I didn't realize that travel would be so fucking crazy in the NBA. Flying 6 hours from Sacramento to New York and then 3 hours to Florida and then like one night and you play back to back. And then we have like footballers who like, "Oh fuck, I have to play Athens Kallithea like 4 days like later." It's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? So it
I
is
don't understand.
frustrating.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
frustrating because uh, we are still topping the league, and
yeah,
we could have had like 5 to 6 points
yeah,
gap easily. I don't say we could have won all the games,
yeah.
but like a win tonight and the two other games in which we dropped
Levadiakos, yeah.
and Panathinaikos.
Panatolikos, yeah.
It's
Asteras away.
man, the set pieces thing is why can't it be a major issue? Like, why would
Mm,
people put the quality of the signings over the fact that we can't even rely on a corner when we need it to win those games? Because no team has won a title without shitty games on it. It's inevitable.
yeah.
You have to. You can't play good football every game. You can't. You just can't.
Yeah, I think one thing, that's like missing is just just the creation from set pieces. Like you said, like Kalitea gets that one corner at the end of the game, and you're like, this is gonna be dangerous. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
How many corners do we get a game now? And we just don't you never like every time we get a corner, I've never expect us to score. Not even one thought. And it's just so depressing. Like even the set pieces we get, like I can't even remember, you know, last set piece goal. Like I know Biancon scored the corner, but I'm trying to think like off a set piece. It seems so just
No,
basic. And we have good players in the air. We have Carmo, we have Retsos who jumps like a mile high.
yeah, but it's a matter of
It's like, are these things not being like, what do we do in training sometimes? Like, do we work on
yeah.
set pieces? Like, I don't understand what.
Honestly, my point is that I don't believe you can call me crazy, but I don't really believe in trainings in football. You know why? Because when confidence is there, you almost barely don't need to train. You just need to have fitness level that is maintained. But when you have a team that is like City right now, what do you think can come out of trainings? Nothing. Mentally, the team is done. The coach is done mentally, is drained.
Yeah.
And when you have a team like ours this season with so many injuries, you have players that have big names and are frustrated because they don't play. And I don't understand. Nothing can come out of trainings. We have a coach that is known for being stubborn. He's not going to change anything. Like nothing is going to come out of trainings. It's not Marcelo Bielsa because when Marcelo Bielsa was Marseille coach, the trainings were lasting 2 3 hours with terrible exercise in which he was stopping the playing every second to fix things. This is not what Mendelibar is doing. So there is nothing that will come out of trainings. So I don't. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't expect
Yeah.
anything from
There's so many
trainings.
things like in football that don't happen in other sports as well, where it seems like so much of the game sometimes is mental and there's a mental block.
Yeah,
And if
that's
the
it.
players lose mentality or if they lose trust in the manager, it's such a slippery slope. You see, like Pep Guardiola is the best man, probably was the best manager in the world. Literally, just the best players in the world. And mentally, things just begin to slip, and you start questioning your ideas. What am I doing? Is this right? Does this work? And it's just, you know what I mean. It feels like at this point, like surely people, Mendilibar the players too have to be like, what the fuck is this, man? Like with all the crossing and all of this style of play, like the players have enough quality. They should be able to beat like the Levadiakos of the world and the Athens Kallithea, and it's just
No, the
very
team is
frustrating.
undertrained. To me, the team is undertrained because it's December and we barely seen any link up with some players that have been playing for
Mm,
3 months together, if not more.
yeah.
Rodinei, for example, has been there since more than a year. Do you see any link up? I don't know, with uh, the central defenders. The only player that has, I don't. Sometimes you really wonder if some. We still have like 8 starting players from the Conference League,
Mm,
so it should be almost easy to coach because they know the recipe of success.
yeah.
Uh, and the question is, I don't know, but this team is really undertrained because when you see, for example, Luchescu with PAOK, you can see that is getting what he wants from his players, and when it's not working, I think it's because they have less talent. But and I agree with the comment of Gio. We don't have any automatism, and it's very varying. It's not a matter of quality because even uh, players from smaller teams can have automatism.
Yeah. I think also
Football
Velde
is
was
simple. I
great.
mean, football
I
is very simple sport.
I thought Velde was really good today again, and it's a player that's so weird. Like he came and he was out of form, and the fans were complaining that he cost so much money and blah blah blah. But he's been having good games recently, good games, and he just like gets dropped and doesn't get any playing time. And he's finally again like I think Costa was mentioning in the chat, like he's having a great game. Like leave him for 90 minutes, like give him the confidence and play him again Saturday. Like play him again Saturday with Lamia at home and like let the guy keep going. But it's the same thing with Willian. Like I feel almost, is Willian probably finished? Yeah, probably. But the way the players are being managed is also so shit. Like Willian builds form, like he clearly was not fit. He had an injury, blah blah blah. He's building form, he's looking helpful, he's creating against Ofi. He plays poorly against Twins. Like lots of players play poorly. And then he's like completely dropped. Like, how can we just say like, oh, Willian shit again? Like, but you gotta like, you gotta give the players like time to play. You gotta give them cohesion. Like you were saying, like it's been too choppy. Almost the teams like why changing the central defenders? Why doing this and doing that? And um, for the wingers specifically, it's just like boom, boom. You're playing on the left, you're playing on the right. They're not building partnerships with fullbacks either. Like Ortega's been out a long time, and it's just so fucking frustrating to watch, in my opinion, because it's like,
I'm
yes, are they probably flops? A lot of these players, yes, but if you go on the game sheets, like you'll see something like I'm pulling a name out of the hat. Like Oliveira played 60 minutes. He didn't play 3 games. He played 90 minutes. He didn't play for 2 games. He played 60 minutes. And you like look at it, and all the fans are just like Oliveira shit, blah blah blah. But the thing is, like, if I was a player too, like I was one of these players who got signed by Olympiacos in the summer. Let's say I'm Willian. It's like I'm feeling confident. Like shit, I had a bad game on Thursday against Vent. Like I'm sorry. Like fuck. I slowly felt like I was building rhythm. And then I'm just like cut again from the list. It's got to be super frustrating for players who are like trying. It feels like some players are really trying hard to build some form, and then they're like cut almost from the squad list. Like, why are we cutting Willian from the squad list? Like, if he's not injured, I don't understand. Like, I know he was bad Thursday, everyone. Like, I know he was bad Thursday, and he's been underperforming. But we all saw, like everyone in this comment section was saying, like Willian is starting to build form. Like hopefully this continues. The newspapers wrote about it, and it was the same thing with Velde last time versus Kallithea. Velde has played pretty good. He had a decent run of games, and then like he was cut from the list, and he comes back again against Kallithea today. Plays very good. He's probably not going to play Saturday. 1 minute, I bet you, Monsieur, that Velde does not play Saturday. And people are going to be like, "Oh, Velde was a flop. He was shit." Like it, it's not.
Before that, I'm going because I'm seeing the name Fortunis being dropped and summer signings also. I'm just going to ask a question because I've thought about it recently from another perspective. Is it possible? Just ask yourself: is it possible that both Fortunis and Pudense left because they somehow knew that either they weren't enjoying as much as we thought playing for Mendelebar, or maybe they understood that the playing style wasn't that sustainable over time, and they had both a way to collect money in Saudi Arabia, which was a good reason on itself to refuse to stay to Olympiacos, because we've only uh, told that story from the club perspective, like, okay, the club fucked up things, they don't gave enough money to Fortunis, to Podense, but what if those players did not want to stay? And I'm not saying both of them don't love the club. I know that both of them love the club. That's not the question. But why we can't have in mind the fact that they also can decide not to play for another season, which uh, because I don't think even if we offered 1.5 million to Fortunis and he wanted 2 million, like it's half a million in difference. It's nothing. It's peanuts. It's peanuts because if you have decent individual bonuses, you will get that money anyway.
But I also will say, like, the Velde signing, like for years, people like Olympiacos fans have been like, we need logical signings, well scouted signings. Like Velde was the perfect signing, a winger, young winger who's been doing good in Poland, has been playing hard. You know what I mean? Like he's a player that you could resell if he hits it on well with Olympiacos. And people are just like, I I don't know. Velde had a difficult start. He was adapting. So did Danny Garcia, guys. And like I think Danny Garcia is slowly starting to find a spot at Olympiacos, but like Velde is the profile of player that like I want Olympiacos to sign. Young winger, he's playing well in like a smaller league, but we bring him here and we try to develop him and build him. And it may not always work. Like Velde may not always work, but we have seen very clearly this season like why the club bought Velde because he's got a powerful right and left foot. He's got good control. He can drive the ball forward. He's creative. He can dribble. And yes, has he had been in bad form? Yes. Has he made mistakes? Yes. But I think he deserves to play a little bit, guys. Like, I think if we're going to write Velde off, like, let him play and write him off. You know what I mean? If we're going to fail him, like, let's,
The
like, let him fail by playing. I think Martial, you and I have like known and met enough footballers, like football players, where it's like the worst thing you can do is play a guy 75, 80 minutes, then not play him for 2 weeks, play him 75, 80 minutes, especially with a big like price tag. They have all this
yeah,
pressure, they have no rhythm, and then you just make them an easy target for the fans. Like all the fans are gonna say, "Look, oh Velde got so much money, he didn't score or assist today, he fucking sucks." Man, Velde, he plays 70 minutes every 2 weeks. And people are just like,
this
oh, we paid 5 million euros. 5 million euros is a fucking joke, man. Like, that's like not real money in football these days. And people are like, why doesn't he score goals and have assists every time he plays 20 minutes? It's just insane, man. Like, I, 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 I feel like we've set Velde up at this point to fail. Oliveira, to an extent, I think Oliveira's probably done. Like, after tonight, like, tonight was really difficult, really bad for him.
the,
But I also have sympathy because I've also heard it from the other side, the players that's like, I I've played 60 minutes every 4 games and like due to circumstances, due to something else, I just couldn't get in form. I couldn't get a run of games going. It just didn't work out. Like how many times have you seen that in football, Marcia? Like where a signing doesn't work because they just can't get the rhythm and like it just doesn't click and boom, they're done. Like it happens. It happens. So I
the
don't know.
issue for me is that I don't know how to say that, but the fans fans' expectations to me holds too much importance about how a coach is working with the team. And Mendilibar is probably the least guy on earth that will get influenced by the fans. But it's visible that uh, it's visible that something is not clicking. But also, it comes to we probably need more. Uh, Maybe someone like Valbuena, that can really be a link between the board and the locker room, because either Karambe, either Kovacevic, man, those guys, to me, Avram, I just wonder how is that possible that you sign players for decent wages, like big wages or big fees like Verde, and you can see that they are struggling to adapt.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Like, how many people we pay in the staff to be the link, and we end up in December saying, okay, Williams is a tourist, which is probably a fake news. You have Velde that is probably frustrated because he's getting no minutes, consistent minutes, and I don't know. We have a club that is massive, and the club operates at like 40% of its potential. Because if you want to send a message to those players, uh, just use the youngsters. Because we've seen that Kostulas, Muzakitis can offer a lot. Like Greek League is a professional league, but we're the biggest club of this league. There is no doubt about it. Like we can't be. It's it's different in Europe, because even if people are mad when we drew like 2 times in a row, and I don't hold any frustration over Europe, because we were losing back-to-back games like months ago. But in the Greek league, we need to change the way of things.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
it's
just
not. I don't
frustrating.
I don't
It's
I don't know
yeah.
why. I would need to spend like 2 weeks in the club, to just understand how it works, because I don't know.
And also there's this thing like GS here mentions how much of a linchpin is Chiquinho now that he's out injured. Totally different team. I think it's not even Chiquinho. I think it's that position behind the striker that's so key to the whole Mendilibar system. Like because Chiquinho was moved out to the wing recently, like before he got injured again. And I think the key position is that what Costulas is playing, what Chiquinho is playing, that position there feels like it is the key to like everything Mendilibar cooks, and if I can say that, like it connects the midfield, it connects the attack, it gets the wingers into position, and when that position is not clicking, like he threw Gelson Martins there today, and then he was like, "Let me throw Velde, who was playing great at the wing, like let me throw Velde behind the striker," and then he sucked, and you're sitting there and you're just like, shit, man, like we need another player to like I think the team now that I'm seeing it like needs a player in that position, like in that Costulas Chiquinho position so badly, because if
It's
neither of
not
those
like
two start there, the whole thing is like a house of cards. It just collapses, in my opinion. It's just completely
it's not like
useless.
we've signed someone that was supposed to be
Yeah,
the guy.
Yazici was supposed to be the guy there,
But
and
I
now,
think
yeah,
the only answer, the only answer, the only answer of all that, in my opinion, is that the amount of injuries we've had means that we are almost at the end of the preseason. I don't know, not that bad, but it's Carmo came back to the team. So now we have more solutions in defense, but Chiquinho is injured. So when
yeah,
Chiquinho will come back to the team, he will have missed 2 games, if not 3. Let's see if he comes back for Lamia. And then what will happen? Either Willian or uh, Gelson will get injured. If not El Kabi, we just know that
yeah,
that's the reality. And I've criticized a lot Mendilibar tonight, and I still hold a lot of critics toward him. But the fact is, nothing can be done with this team, not because we're lacking quality. We might be lacking quality at some point, at some position. We're lacking consistency.
yeah,
We're lacking consistency, And tonight is another proof because it's I won't say it's a mess because it will be lying, but
Mm.
how many uh, um, I don't know the word in English, on how much player we can rely, on how much
Yeah.
player
We
we
have
can
too
rely.
many play like, at some point, like, I think a decision has to be made,
We
rightly
have
or
80%
wrongly.
player, most of
Yeah,
them.
that's just like, we need to say, like, "Fuck it, we're done with Willian. Go get a different player," you know? And this shit where we go, "Oh, Willian, we're gonna, like, relaunch him and play him for a bit, but then, like, yank him back."
Reactivate.
Yeah, reactivate, like, fuck that, like, football does not work like that, like, you talk to the players, and what is, like, most key to the players is playing and rhythm, and you know what I mean? Like, they need to play consistently. This shit with the central defenders, like, chopping and changing it was always gonna fuck it up, man, like, you cannot keep changing the pairing and this and that. You play Carmo, you play Retsos, or you play Retsos, maybe Pirola, and then you have a second back line. You play Pirola and you play Biancon. Like this shit of like maybe Biancon will play one day and then two left-footed center backs. Like it was such a mistake waiting to happen. It was just you saw our ball distribution was awful today as well, guys. Like it was just like every time it went on the right foot of Pirola, it's like that was it. It was too slow. We had to recycle. Like we couldn't. You can't play him there. You can't play him as a right center back. And or you can, but you're creative. Like why would we play him there today? Like why would we give up some of our creative intensity and ability down the right just to play Pirola, man? He's played enough games. Like play Biancon or play Retsos, man. We need to create. And so it's
I
it's
see.
just the worst, yeah. Sometimes like with the central defenders, it
You know,
flusters me so much. I just don't understand it.
we have the main issue of Olympiacos always has been to have too many players, and we
Yeah,
probably have 3 to 4 players that are not required.
yeah,
And Mendilibar, I'm sorry to say that, does not know how to make a big squad like that a winning squad in the Greek league. Only in the Greek league, I mean, because in Europe, he's more than able to make his own choices. You
yeah,
won't see any strange lineups in Europe, apart of the one in Lyon for some reasons. But apart of that, every lineup he made in Europe was almost logical.
yeah,
In the Greek league, either it's because he has a poor staff when it comes to collect information about opponents. Either it's because he don't care about the league. Either it's because he's underestimating some opponents. Either it's because he can't. I don't know, but it's not
yeah.
working. It's not working. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. And I'm just trying to understand the logic because even like 4 center backs. I'm sorry, we are Olympiacos. We are playing in the Greek league.
There's no
We
such thing
don't
as the
need
Greek Cup as well, in my opinion. Like the Greek
no.
Cup
You
is
don't need
like
four
5
equal
games.
center
It's not a
backs.
real cup. We play 2 competitions. The Greek Cup is a fucking joke. It's literally if you make it all the way to the final, what is it? Like 6 or 7 games? Like and the first round is against a shit team. Like there is no you don't need a big squad for 3 competitions. There are really only 2
No,
competitions when you're the Olympiacos manager, and it's like it we have a midfielder too many, it feels like, in the central midfield. Like there needs to be some cuts. And that's not even it, I think, in my opinion. Like I think
I agree with the last comment about player picking some games. And
yeah,
man, and but that was also the reality of last season because when you think of it, sometimes I just wonder like what did people saw in last season that I did not see myself? Because in Conference League we got humiliated by Tel Aviv at home. We lost to Fenerbahce away, facing a lot of pressure. That game was almost a miracle because we ate a
yeah,
goal quite early and we lost it. And it wasn't like the two Aston Villa's game were the best ever. Both games.
Man, that Aston
The
Villa
first one,
Olympiacos games were amazing and we won. But I want you to like look back at the bench of Aston Villa was fucking decimated and gunning for Champions League football at that point in the season. Like, if we look at the team and the subs they made, it's just oof. Like their bench in that second game against Olympiacos, like at Kariskaki, like they were in
okay,
trouble, man. Like they literally were just bringing on guys with like the number like 68 and 78, like they had no one left on the bench. They didn't
yeah.
have Tielemans. Like
No,
it was
but
an amazing run. Like we can relive and we can talk about the conference league and we can all say it was amazing what we did, but we also have to admit like we were pretty shit last season as well. Like, man, we were
no,
really
but
bad at a lot of
we
moments.
also
Like
we
imagine
also
where we were
entered.
last at this point last season. Like, didn't we just get destroyed by? We probably just beat Baka Topola at home to save Conference League football with Carlos Carvajal. Like Carlos Carvajal just came, and everyone was like, "Oh, thank God! Like this guy came. Like we've just beat Baka Topola. Like let's go to Christmas." So that's where we were a year from today. Okay, so it's
You
like
know, you
it
know.
was. There were tough moments last season. Really tough.
If I
Don't worry.
was Olympiacos sports director right now, what I would be is like I'm forced to resign Willian for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's drop this in the chat, guys. Like, if you're looking at Olympiacos'
no,
roster right now, right, you can make three changes to the European list.
you
Like,
know my no my what I will say might be unpopular, but you
yeah,
know what I would say is we are January, no big names because we have a chance to play Champions League next summer. The aim, it's the league. The aim is the league. We probably will be first. What if I could sign three players? You know who my three players would be? It would be Athanasiou for the left back, Betancourt for striker, and some winger from Greek league. Either like someone like well, it's not possible, but someone like Eliasson from AEK, or maybe uh, not Dimitrius from Kallithea because I don't think he's good enough. But like even recalling Bernich from his loan, and you use what you have with just three players because we can aim for much better in the summer. I don't want to hear about Ziyech, like Insigne, uh,
yeah,
because we can't use those players in Champions League anymore. We
yeah,
need small fix, like immediate solution that will be ready from January the 1st. And
yeah.
if you sign tonight, you play Betancourt, he's scoring. You start Betancourt over El Karabi in the games like that, he's scoring 100%.
Mm. The
You
thing
don't
is,
need
like,
you don't need a top striker to win those games, and it's the Greek league.
yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think for me, the three signings I would do, and I saw a comment that's interesting in, um, but do you think that like Bakulas would have been a better option like behind the striker today? Like, should he be launched? Like, should he be a player who should have been launched? In these moments that you don't have Chiquinho, you didn't want to start Costulas tonight. Like, do you launch him tonight? Like, would you have launched him? Do you want to see him maybe like be brought in? He scored goals in preseason. Like, do you think he could offer a solution to the team? Like
Who's that? Sorry, I was reading something.
Bakulas,
Yeah, you have to,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
because let's not forget that every player
The
that will
U19s are what saved this first half of the season. Like, where
no, but
would we be without Musakitis and without Kostulas? Like, I
the
don't want to
thing
know.
is
I don't want to
the
know.
thing is, uh, if we sign players in the winter, big names, it means that limited solutions for
Yeah,
some players, and I would rather fail with Papacanelos and getting into January saying, okay, Papacanelos not ready yet. He needs a loan uh, to progress.
how
But
much
we
better
we
would it
gave
have
the
been if Rodinei was on the fucking bench tonight,
yeah
Gelson Martins was on the right, and
yeah
Bakulas was playing behind the striker? Like, how much better tonight would have tonight been, guys? Like,
we
drop in the comments. Like, I think it
yeah,
would have been.
we end up frustrating frustrated no matter what. So I would rather be frustrated because Papacanelos had the biggest stinker Greece ever saw, that because
Yeah.
we drew 1-1 to Kallithea with such players. And we have to pick up something that makes dropping points sustainable, because Papacanelos, if we want him to be regular players for Olympiacos, he will need to learn how to be frustrated when you drop points against shitty team in a shitty stadium, against random Greek coach that probably owns Cafe Neo in his village. You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
Greek football at its
Yeah.
best, and he needs to face that. Yeah, it's when you in the 90s, when you were calling some girls at home and the dad was picking up the phone. You just had to be there. So that's the same thing that's playing at Kallithea away when you're under 19 player. You know what I mean? It's part of the
Yeah.
process.
But I think that was a good reference. I think I also like I do think that, we are not getting things out of Rodinei on the wing, or like
No,
Gelson Martins has been bad form, just give it literally, we saw it. The under 19s are the ones who saved this first half of the season. Like what Ari, Costa, and all of us have been talking about, like we were very happy with the summer window to an extent, if it meant that the young players were being considered. In the first few months, if you remember, Mendy Libar would not use Musakitis, he would not use Kostulas, he would not use any of the young players. And we were just like, well, the team is fucked if you're not going to use those young players, because we thought you constructed the team around using them. And it's back to that point where we didn't sign Andre Orta because I also thought Bakulas would play in that role. So if you are, if I am Mendy Libar and I'm just getting frustrated against Kallithea, man, I'm just gonna say fuck it. Like fuck you guys. Like I'm gonna play these guys who are just who are fearless, like Papacanelos, like screw it, man. Like just let him. He's not afraid to like Rodinei, like doing his step overs and pass back and shitty crosses. Like Papacanelos, we saw that in Crete, I think, when he came on, like literally just dribbled by someone and like ran past. He like didn't get anything out of it, but like you could see there was no fear there and he was being direct. It's like the opposite that you're getting on the pitch now. But anyway, I think the last thing, like you said, is just like we cannot sign a big name this winter. Like I pray to God we do not sign a big name in the winter. It's
no,
just
but
we need some more
just
solutions for creativity, but like it does not need to be Hakim Ziyech, who is like
the thing with
God.
Rodinei is a perfect example of what I was saying before. When you watch Rodinei, do you really think this guy will evolve as a player? The
Yeah.
guy uh, indirectly indicates this team is undertrained, because Rodinei, I don't think he's a bad player, but the thing is, tactically wise, and he hasn't improved in crosses, hasn't improved in. It doesn't take set pieces, but when he has to, it's horrible. The guy is just a regular player that came at a specific level. He improved a little bit to get used to European football, but and it's visible that the this kind of player, I don't know how to say that. It doesn't show
Oh,
that the coach is shaping the team.
yeah.
Instead of, if we got to see Papacanelos, for example, like Costulas, no, is a second striker, and it's due to Mendilibar. Mendilibar has learned how to shape Costulas as a player, but it's not possible with every player. And
Yeah.
in reality, Olympiacos on the scale of clubs is almost a nurturing club. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
will sign Rodinei? No one. This guy most likely will go back to Brazil when his contract ending. And when Rezos left for Leverkusen, you have some pride, because you have a massive club taking your captain that is 18 years old and is going to use it in one of the best leagues in Europe. and that's a big pride for an Olympiacos fan. I don't know when I kind of lost myself saying
No, but
that,
like
but
what I think you're meaning is Rodinei is still a useful player to Olympiacos, but he's not useful to play wing against fucking Kallithea in December,
exactly.
man. Like he's useful. He would have been useful on Thursday night playing wing with Costinha behind him. But for fuck's sake, like just play Costinha at right back, who is pretty decent at crossing the ball, and man, and play a fucking winger. Play a winger out there. I don't care who it is. Play a real winger against Kallithea, man. You have Danny Garcia and Oliveira in the midfield. You don't need two right backs against Kallithea, man. What did he expect Rodinei to do from the wing? It's like he expects Rodinei to like bang in a goal or make an assist. The goals he provided on the right wing were through the press. That his press was high and he did good and he contributed to that in Europe. But against Kallithea in a deep block, the guy can't cross for shit. Like, what did he expect? Like, Rodinei was going to come in and make a cross and bing, it's going to hit El Kabi's head and we're going to celebrate. It's just made no sense, man. It made no sense. So,
Rodinei as a winger, man. No,
yeah.
no.
So, anyway, we're over an hour now, so we're getting time to wrap up soon. But, like, what I want to see us do in January at this point is like, okay, Bakulas is done. That project is not happening this year, clearly. I would appreciate we get Andre Horta in. Like, the guy likes Mendilibar. He knows the system. That seems like a logical signing.
I will have some question that could be also a conclusion, because do people really think, I don't have the answer, but that's the question I
Go
have. Do
ahead.
people really think that the players that won Conference League enjoyed playing for Mendilibar as much as we fans think they did? The more it goes, and the more I'm thinking that they love to play for Olympiacos because of the fan base, the club, country, money, winning titles, playing Europe. Also because the coach is well known and is a good human being. But the question I have is, do they really love to play for that guy? Like, will they say Mendilibar is the best coach they ever had? And my guess is that's why we lost Fortunis and Potense. And just think about it: who can lose two players like that in the same summer with a coach that just won with them Conference League? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will
No,
ask
but
my wife in the
I
bed.
do just think we just need fuck me. We need some creative solutions though, man. Willian at this point has played like what over 10 games and not scored a goal. Like we talked about it earlier in the podcast that like, you know, it feels like, you know, the team is not in rhythm, that the players are not in rhythm, blah blah blah. But at some point, you know,
I
some players
agree
we
with.
need to perform. You know, we
I
need.
just
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead, Mosya.
I just want to answer the question about the 6 million to Wolves. I
Yeah.
don't know the answer of that, man, but it's I don't know who decided not to proceed with the transfer, but I know this club. I don't know Olympiacos as long as some people that listen to the podcast. But the thing is, if all parts wanted Pudense to sign permanently, it would have happened. That's all I'm saying. But just forget Pudense. Just stick uh, to Fortunis. Fortunis has renewed his contract when he was in the B team playing with waiters, with player that have no clubs, with player that has Serbs in Super League 2, and the guy say, okay, I'm still renewing on the pay cut. Can we really think as regular human being that the guy said, I won't stay to Olympiacos because I want more money playing with Donis in a shitty league with shitty players around? It makes no sense. Yeah,
It was
okay,
the
he wanted a
last
big
season for
contract.
Fortunis, man. It was the last season for Fortunis. Like,
He would have.
it
He
was
would have.
over, man. It was so over for like
No,
we
he
don't
would.
even
He
need to
would.
get into it. It's
No, but the thing is, he wanted a big contract, but the contract he would have had at the club would have been even equally as big, because if he stayed at the end of it, Podense going to Saudi Arabia meant Marinakis going back to Fortunis with a better offer, not for not losing his face. I just don't buy the fact he left for the money only. He left for the money, that's sure thing, not for the money only.
yeah.
I'm suspecting something behind it. Like that said love story between Mendilibar and the player, the more it goes, the less I'm believing in it. I hope I'm wrong, because I'm just a guy in France, so I don't know everything, of course.
Yeah. I think I just don't think there's necessary to rehash all of this shit. Like, it's just I don't know. I think we're all frustrated this evening, but also just there's so many questions, like what is this, what is that. What I want to
What
see
is
moving
love?
forward is just a little bit of consistency. If Velde is going to fail, I kind of want him to play 5 games in a row. I want
Yeah,
Velde to play
exactly.
5 games in a row. If he plays 2 good ones and then the third one is shit, like Willian did against, I want him to play 2 more. Like, I really do not care. Like, I just want to see. I want to know. So what I want to know at this point is just like, are they finished or are they not? This shit of like they're half in and they're half out. I'm done with all of that. Like, where it's like Oliveira's an option to play 45 minutes like every few weeks. That needs to end, like, in my opinion. It's just, I think Oliveira, looking at the midfield, I think there's quality in that guy. Like, he's had an amazing career. His right foot, his set pieces, his corners. But at Olympiacos, it feels like he's done. Like, it feels like Oliveira is done. And it's depressing to say that because he was supposed to be a solid signing, et cetera, et cetera. Feels like the guy's done.
Yeah, you
So
know
are
he's
we gonna
done.
do this thing for the rest of the season where we play him fucking every 4 games, 80 minutes, and then bench, and then
You know,
whatever? Or
when
what?
I
What?
said football is very simple, it's like someone like Oliveira is like exactly when you are in a relationship and you can smell that it's over. Like,
Yeah.
she's not smiling to you anymore. Like, she's barely replying text messages, and you keep asking shitty questions. Like, hey, what's going on? What's the matter?
It's over.
Yeah, it's over. And I'm sure, 100% sure that Oliveira, when he goes to Reddy, he knows that it's over. There is
Yeah.
nothing he can save. It's over. Man, you just have to. You just have to read the papers in Greek. You have his big faces on it, and
Just
it's
open Twitter, man. You'd read Twitter. Like,
yes.
yeah.
It's like when you go back from work in a relationship, and you see your wife with her best friend around, like talking in a cafe, not smiling, almost crying, and you know it's over. It's
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
You can't change it. And that's
And
Olympiacos, man.
Gio here
All
says
the
no more 35 plus players like Marcelo and Willian. What about Valbuena, Gio? Man, sometimes the 35 plus can hit. What about El Arabi? No more of that either. Like,
when
it
you think
hits and
of
it
it,
misses, man. It hits or it misses. And then people, like, the thing is, like, people whine about Velde. Like, take risk like Velde is also good. How is it also good when the whole fan base decided he was a piece of shit and like was finished like 2 months into the season, man? Like, this fan base can have good things sometimes because Velde has looked very good when he's been on the pitch for like the last. Okay, sorry, he was 33. El Arabi, sorry, 33. Like, okay, guys, like, okay, fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is
do
like,
you really think
can this
El
club build a
Arabi?
young player like Velde who is like 5 million? We're investing in him. When after 3 games, the whole fan base and his Instagram is like, "Fuck you, man! You're a piece of shit. Like, you're a waste of money. We wanted Fortunis. Like, blah blah blah." Like, you guys you don't want the 35 plus players. You don't like Oliveira, but then the club brings in a 24-year-old with interesting characteristics, and everyone on Instagram and Twitter mocks the guy and destroys him. So it's like, what do people in this team want? Like, I don't know what the fan base wants sometimes, because it's just like Velde has been has been destroyed by fans, and now it's almost weird to see that some of you in the comment section and people on social media are like, Velde shit, he's got to go. Velde's been the best player on the pitch the last few times he's played. Like, is that not
You are not.
true? Like, some of
You
you
are.
you are so proud and like obsessed with shitting on players, and you want to be right that they're a flop, that some of you people like supporting the club literally would rather see Velde flop and you're proven right than support the guy now that he's finally getting form. Like, that is the
Well,
truth in social media, and the toxicity of Olympiacos fans right now. It's like there's a lot of fans in the stadium on social media who came to the decision that Velde's shit, and now they're rooting so hard he fails, so they're proven right. Like, I want people to think about that real quick. Like, Velde has been very good the past few games, and people are
this
too proud to admit that he's not shit and that they were wrong. So let's just wait and see. Let's
you know
wait and
what?
see about Velde and
You,
about shitting on Velde and everything else and Pep BL, and I'm seeing this stuff like it
the thing
like
is,
people are pissed off, but like also I don't like, I know football is like demanding, they're paid a lot of money, but it takes time to adapt. And his issue is the attitude. And Fortunis, who fucking walked and pouted and what was his issue? Was his issue the attitude too, or we all loved him? Like you see a guy walking around and like his facial expression, we want to judge the character that he is and what he does, and like it's just so frustrating, guys, because doing this podcast has been such a blessing, because we've gotten the ability to get to know footballers better and some of the players that come to Olympiacos better, and some of the very successful ones and some of the ones that flop, and you don't even have half an idea of what happens behind the scenes and how difficult it is sometimes, and you know what some of these guys go through, and we need to support. We as a club, a scouting department, a team took a chance on Velde and we brought him in. We paid money for him, and now he's showing positive characteristics that could help the club. How about some of you guys are a little bit more positive about Velde, because it took him a few months to adapt, and you thought he was upset on when he was playing, like not trying enough. Like,
you know what?
that's
Velde.
my whole take. I don't know. It's really, I know it's like a bit ranty and
I'm gonna
angry, and
summarize that if you allow me to. Like
but you know what
Velde.
I mean? Like, GS here says Fortunis went through 4 years of Martin. Don't say he has an attitude. Valde's here for 5 minutes. Like, sure, Fortunis was a club legend. Fortunis was also a player who got managers sacked. Like, man, threw a fit with Pedro because he didn't get subbed on against fucking Pauk or whatever when the team needed him most. Like, come on, man. Like, be a little bit of an adult and realize, like,
the the
you know,
thing
God,
Velde is like,
yeah.
when you have a crush on that got girl in high school, no
Okay, go
one's
on.
reps her. You're the only one believing in her, and like 5 years later, she turns out to be a massive 10 out of 10, and you would be the guy saying, okay, I knew it for the first time. And the thing I wanted to say is, uh,
Mm,
we have no choice but to trust Velde. It's that simple. It's that simple. We paid money for Velde. We have no choice but to trust him. We need to give him a full season. It's gonna be frustrating. It's gonna pieces of many times. Yes, but that's football.
yeah,
If we want players to be massively good over 6 months, it's not possible. It's
yeah,
not. It's not possible, and I don't think it will work with Mendilibar. But Mendilibar is not Olympiacos. Mendilibar is the coach of Olympiacos.
yeah,
We can't predict the future, and we don't know what can come. What if, let's say, what if Mendilibar gets sacked in January? We bring a coach that changes the playing style. do you want Valde with you or not? Yeah, we do. Do you want
Yeah.
to see Valde on loan to, I don't know, Polish club scoring goal? I know it's not the same league, not the same reality, but I would be so frustrated because players like Valde is like Zinkernagel. They might have ego, they might have what it's called attitude, but they just need to unlock it. Sometimes it does not click with the club. Uh, I don't know.
Literally, guys, like last season we saw this. Like Olympiacos, like Daniel Podence, can we say, okay, we can say this like as it is, literally stopped playing for Carlos Carvajal to get him sacked. Like, do we remember that? Like, do people forget about it? Like Daniel Podence stopped playing football to get Carlos Carvajal basically sacked. Okay.
Yeah,
That happens in football. Like that happens. And Daniel Podence is seen as like, because he makes posts on Instagram how great the fans are and he loves this, that like everyone loves him. But like he also did some crazy shit too. Like we can't just think of people in this amazing way, you know, like people make mistakes. Velde made mistakes. Like, will he come good again? Maybe. Pep Biel made mistakes. Well, did he come good? No, he didn't. Unfortunate, blah, blah, blah. We spent money, but that's how it works. So, you know, I'm just, we're going
no,
to
but
see what happens. We're going
we
to
no,
see what
but
happens. But go on,
to
Martial.
me there is no debate about Valde for the only reason that we spend money on him, and you don't sell the place you just bought 6 months after because you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can work on it. You can change the paint. You can erase some walls. You can, you know what I mean. You can change the kitchen, change the bathroom. It's similar for our players because I know
Yeah.
by comparison it kind of shit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh,
But we
a
just
lot
need
of
to,
things can change.
we
I want Velde to
genuinely,
succeed.
like,
I don't want
this is the thing I
Mendilibar
have
out
the issue
for Velde.
with what GS here is that people genuinely want Velde to succeed. Like I believe that people genuinely want him to succeed, but I also see him have a good game, but we don't get a good result. And the fans shit on him and destroy him because they've already come to this predetermined conclusion that they don't like Velde because he was the replacement for Podence, and they also already determined that they think Velde's shit. There's a lot, I would say like 50% of the people on social media who are targeting the player, and like a lot of people when you go to the stadium, they have already predetermined that they think Velde is shit, so they're gonna shit talk him. So unfortunately, that is a major issue.
No, the major issue is that what we would need
And and
as a
also
club
and
is
also
that
like this thing about like he's been unlucky with times on the field, but if he was worth the money we spent, the money, what did we spend for Velde? Like 4 million euros? What did we spend? Like 4.5 million euros GS? Like that is not a lot of money in world football. Like that is not a lot. You can't buy a ton of money. Like you're not expecting him to be like I'd be interested in looking on the Mercado like transfer market and seeing like how many wingers for 4 million euros basically are like game changers and the best. It's gonna we have to build the guy up, you know, at that price point. We have to it's an investment in the player. We need to build him up, especially at that age. So we're gonna have to see. So
no, the only thing I wanted to say is what we would need probably is, someone like uh, Zinkernagel say, it's this club. You know what I mean? Some
yeah.
players like that would have to come public and say, fans of Olympiacos needs to understand that when you sign for a club, you get promised some things like
Yeah.
playing time, basic jersey. You sign for the club, you train. Someone inside the club decide to sign finished name over you.
Yeah.
That's one reality. Other reality is your Velde, you're signing the summer after both Podense and Fortunis leave, and you can go public and say, expectations were too big for me. No human being could live up Podence's and Fortuni's expectation. Man, we would need prime Messi or Ronaldo to erase both of those players from
Yeah.
people's mind. And you
And
know
I
what I
think
mean?
also,
We just need to see the bigger picture, and it comes back to the issue, to the comment that say that the issues goes beyond Velde, and I agree on that, because it's not about Velde, it's about who comes after those big names, because
yeah,
we are a fan base that only wants like wingers all summer long. We want
yeah,
a number 10, we want a striker, we need 5 players in the midfield. You scroll on Twitter tonight, people say we need 5 players in January. No, we don't. And I'm not saying, I don't want Velde to go to a psychologist, because it's not that bad, but the margin is very thin, because we are projecting expectation on people. Like, just think on your regular job. If you come to a job and you're replacing the best worker the company ever had, it's obvious that you're going to face crazy expectations. And I'm just answering the last comment. No, I'm not happy with wingers, but I don't believe in
yeah.
wingers anyway, because
But I will
tonight.
say, like, I don't want to bring this back to Velde again, but I want to bring it back to like what I mean the management of the team. So this is the thing: like Velde plays against Panathinaikos, plays 83 minutes, bangs in a goal, like has a decent game. Next week, not in the squad. Post international break, not in the squad. Against Ofi, left on the beat, left on the bench. Volos paid like 15 minutes. And then he plays Kallithea like full time. And people are like expecting him to be amazing. Like imagine if you scored a goal and you did pretty well and you're like, okay. And then you're left out of the list completely, man. Like I'm frustrated with the way that Mendilibar has managed that to an extent, because it's like, how can we expect people? This is for Willian as well. Like, Willian has he been unfit? Has he got injured? I don't know, but like, can we all agree, like in the chat, like the past 2 to 3 games where William played against Ofi, he played against, was it Volos, whatever, who it was, like we were starting, I had people here, I had people texting me like, Willian is showing something, like he's looking better, like he looks like he was looking like he was in the Premier League. He played badly Thursday. Why not just like be like, okay, Willian, we know you played bad, but we're gonna trust you to play you again Monday, so like you can bounce back and feel better. Like, we trust you, we believe in you. Maybe he's gonna do it on Saturday, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really frustrated by that. I think it's just a mismanagement of the wingers almost. Like, it's just, if that makes sense, like Gio, back to your question, like it's almost like a mismatch management where it's just like the wingers other than Martins have just been like chop and go, and no one's ever been able to build for him. But anyway, we don't know. We're gonna see like Olympiacos still in first place. Like, okay, let's stay calm. No one's getting fired. But it's really frustrating, a lot of this stuff, especially in the league, when we need to get these results. Like this game is going to be so huge at the end of the season. We're playing for automatic qualification into the Champions League. We need to perform. So I think we're at an hour and a half. Mosiaut's anything left to say, really, to wrap up? Like,
I almost choked on myself. Sorry.
there you go.
No, I don't have anything left to say, because football, at the end of it, it's the most simplest sport. It's very simple, and the only thing I don't want people to believe is that Olympiacos is a difficult job to have when you're the coach. It's not true. It's clearly not true. It's difficult over time, yes. But imagine like you drew to Kallithea next game, Lamia at home, and no league offers you that. It's the perfect game to bounce back. Maybe we're gonna win 5-0. I don't know. It's about Mendilibar was the guy in which I had the biggest hope, because he can. He's the only one almost that can say, okay, even if Al Kabi is getting poor over 2 months, he will use Costolas instead of him. And I was expecting him to be more fair with his choices. I really hope he can. I don't know if he can fix that. I still believe in him, but uh, I just can't face more frustrating nights like tonight.
Yeah.
That's why, and that's why the coach is great. For him tonight will be massive.
Yeah.
D,
D. Okay.
because everything was wrong almost, and
Yeah.
it just need to go with Lucescu on holidays 1 week. All Lucescu needs to come with like Excel sheets, a PowerPoint that how can you take the league more seriously? 1 week and that's it.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. Or even with Micho, he speaks Spanish. Like Micho could explain it really well. Like, hey man, all you need is a small squad, managed tightly. Like that's how you do the league for Olympiacos. But anyway,
Mitchell with that team, man, I don't.
is it like I think it's almost time for El Kabi, Rodinei, and Gelson Martins to just be like, look, guys, you're key players, but like it's time to sit on the fucking bench for a little bit of time here, guys. Like, thanks. You know what I like? I would sit all three of those guys down and be like, either you need rest, either you need the bench, but like we're going into Christmas. Like, I'm not playing you on Saturday. Like, if I'm Mendilibar, I'm not playing Rodinei, Gelson Martins, or El Kabi at the weekend. That's kind of my opinion. It's like,
Let's
look,
see.
guys, thanks for everything. Like, I would tell them from today, you're on holiday. Like, seriously, maybe El Kabi you keep on the bench, but Rodinei, Gelson Martins, like, boys, like, that's enough for tonight. But anyway, that's all we got. Thank you, everyone for watching. It's been a passionate episode. Rough draw, last minute equalizer. What can we do? We're living life here.
The
We're gonna be
worst thing is
back.
that
Yeah, tell me
I'm
more.
just closing with some anecdote because the remote for my garage is not working, and my wife left, and I
Yeah.
knew she was going back at some point, and I needed to go down to open the garage from the inside, and she called me
Oh
at
God.
like 88th minute of the game. So the time I went by, I went down. I went down. The TV was still on, and I went down. We went up, and I missed the goal, and I was okay.
Mm.
It's gonna be the end of the game, 1-0 win. I would be happy. And I went back. It was 1-1. I wasn't speaking anymore, and
Yeah.
I had to explain myself like, why do you have a change of humor suddenly? The
Oh,
answer is because of Olympiacos, for fuck's sake.
yeah. 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 And GS, who I think is basically, if it's not Yerasimos from the Patreon chat, like it's his cousin, basically, like here. It's like, who do we put on for El Kabi, Gelson Martins, and Rodinei? Man, like those players have been run into the ground this first half of the season. They don't really need fucking consistency, man. So I would play Willian. I would kind of say to him, I'd say, hey man, like you had a rough game on Thursday. Like we didn't want to play you on Monday, but we're starting you. We're starting Velde. We're starting Kostulas. We're starting Yaremchuk. Midfield, we're going Musakitis and fucking Danny Garcia. We are just going all out Saturday. Like screw the launching. And we're also going to play Yaramchuk because El Kabi is just give him a break, man. Like give him a break. And we're playing Carmo and we're playing Retzos at the back. We're playing Ortega and we're not fucking around. We're just going to go and we're going to win and we're going to go into Christmas with confidence. That is like my goal. My goal for Saturdays, we literally destroy Lamia. We play the best lineup, the most attacking, and we're just going to say, you know what, guys? Like, we are done with this shit. We're just going to go all for it. So let's see, guys. I really hope that some of these players get a little bit of a rest over the Christmas break as well. Let's see. Like we'll see. We'll be back at some point. I know we will before Christmas. So until then, everyone have a great rest of your week. Make sure to like and subscribe. The usual. Of course, with the C would be mad at me if I didn't. And if you're still here, watching us an hour and a half in, how are you not watching us or how are you not supporting us on Patreon? That's like absolutely shocking, guys. Absolutely shocking. I'm not even doing a man of the match, Gio. Sorry. There's no man of the match. That's it. Martial.
Probably the linesman with the subs panel. Imagine the guy is like, oh my god, I was told by my friend that I'm gonna have to put the 45 of retros in.
Dude, I swear the the fourth official has like a center back. He already has the board ready. He's like, I got Oretsos coming on for Pirola, ready to go. I know it's coming. He's
The
like, I'm
guy,
gonna do this substitute so fucking fast. Like, I already have it ready to go. He's like, I'm also gonna get ready to sub one of the right backs. Like, he's like, I am so ready for whatever
every
needs to be done.
linesman in Greece knows the number of Costinha. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm ready. We're ready to make the sub. He's like, I know the number of Pirola perfectly by now. It's like or what's
Even
his
if we
name?
sign, like, I don't know, a goalkeeper, the guy would sub off Costinha, man. It reminds me when Martis was subbing off goalkeepers, to give them the title medals.
Yeah.
Man, Dilipa would be able to sub off Costinha for Pachalakis during the last game to give him one appearance in the league.
I could see it as well. Anyway, I'll wish you all a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week. Oh.
See you soon, guys.